Hello, I am Donny, and I am the cute one.
And I'm Chelsea, and I'm the cute one.
And TGIF, cuties. Here we are.
Here we are.
Normally, it is a fight of who is the cute one, because we're both so damn adorable. But today, I'm just going to give it to you, because I've been sick since the middle of last week, but I've been pushing through. You know, I was drunk often last week, and I think with the alcohol in my body, it was fighting off the germs. But then when I finally settled over the weekend and stopped partying so hard, the sickness came in with a vengeance.
But you're here.
Here I am, finally. So now what?
Well, I have an update. Last week I shared with you and the cuties that I had been speaking exclusively in a British accent in the morning, getting my girls ready for the bus. Now, today was picture day. I sent you pictures. They looked so adorable. Now, I was able to pull off getting them both dressed, ready, looking extra put together and slightly less feral in time for the bus because a new voice has entered the chat.
Oh, no.
I'm adding to my resume of voices in the morning. I am turning into Mrs. Doubtfire. Now, I've never seen that movie, but I have seen the pie in the face clips and Robin Williams doing voice work. So I can only assume that I am transforming. This latest voice work is teenager.
Oh.
So when they say, mommy, talk like a teenager, I say things like, girl, can you please, go put your shirt on? My God, bet.
And they listen?
And they crack up and they listen. And then they come back and they're like, I put on my shirt and I'm like, oh my God, girl, you look so cute. So it's a combination of Valley Girl teenager from the 90s. And then I will throw in Gen Z slang.
Yeah.
I touch my forehead a lot because the Gen Zers love to look like they're scanning the skyline looking for something.
Do they do that?
Oh yeah. It's a lot of
Okay, I need to start that to look younger. Because right now people think I'm 28, but if I do that, I wonder if they think I'm even younger.
Oh my God, you just turned 12. A preteen is among us. But besides that, I really have not done much this week. I don't have a lot to report. I have spent the week playing Bus Jam on my phone. I was playing it as you were setting up your microphone. It was a targeted Instagram ad. They haven't gotten me. Well, I guess they did get me with Project Makeover too, with that poor damsel in distress that really needs a haircut. Now, the game is nothing like that.
I wish it was.
I do too. That girl is going through it. I had an ad for Project Makeover the other day where they had to use a chainsaw to cut through that poor girl's toenails.
Did you see the dog get hit by the car yet? That is all I see. The same ad over and over and over again. There's a mom dog trying to feed her baby dog who's trapped in a cage. So then the mom dog goes to get food and gets hit by a truck. And then this woman comes out of nowhere and you have to decide which dog to save. Project Makeover.
Whoever is in charge of Project Makeover, I think it's Jigsaw from Saw in the marketing department behind the helm because there's no explanation. But Bus Jam was pretty straightforward. You just move your little people onto the bus and then off the bus goes and it's like a little puzzle. And so I've been playing that all week. I also spent my week on TikTok watching some girl in Ohio dig up a rug that could be a dead body in her backyard.
Wait, I've been semi-following that too. Sometimes TikTok just makes its way to the mainstream media, Chelsea. And not that I saw this on CNN or anything, but I did see it on Instagram, which was close enough.
That is the mainstream media. When we as millennials see things on Reels, that means it's transcended TikTok.
Yes.
But yeah, so it was this whole long saga, starting with a potential ghost. She has moved into this house, and then in her sunroom, things kept getting knocked over. Books, her laptop got destroyed. She was like, I think I have a ghost. Well, that sunroom overlooks her yard. And when her and her husband, I think were trying to move a tree or plant a tree, they're digging, and all of a sudden they can't dig any further. They look down and there is this giant ass rolled up rug. And she shares it to TikTok. And then all the TikTok people were like, well, you got to keep digging. And then they finally convinced her to call the police because she was like, is this a dead body? Should I call somebody? The police first came out. They were like, we don't have enough evidence. But then they came back with a cadaver dog and the cadaver dog sat. She was live on Instagram when the first cadaver dog sat down, which is like marking like, yep, there's blood here. And then they brought in a second cadaver dog. The second cadaver dog sat and marked it. And then they said that they didn't find a dead body, but then they took the rug. And I feel like police don't just like get involved willy-nilly on a TikTok case if there's not something else going on. So I'm going to say this is inconclusive. This goes on unsolved mysteries.
Because that's the last we got of it, right? After they took the rug?
Yeah, and she hasn't said anything else. And I do know that as she was like live streaming, the police were like, okay, like at some point you're going to have to turn this off.
Yeah.
Like this is an ongoing investigation now.
Jesus.
See, cuties, I warn you all the time. Home ownership is just an MLM scheme. It's a fairy tale told to us by boomers that we all have bought into. Nothing good comes from buying a house. Who knows? You could have a dead body in your backyard, or at the very least, a rug that ruins your tree.
What if it's the husband's mistress and he did it, but he can't tell her this now?
Oh.
Maybe he wanted to put a pool in so that once it's cemented, then that would really make sure it was buried forever, because you're not going to dig through the cement of a pool. But he didn't think about, oh, we have to get through the body first.
Do people do that? They like build things on top of the dead bodies they bury?
Oh, I've seen many shows that do that. I don't know if anyone's done it in real life, but you have to have the idea from somewhere.
I guess we'll never know until she logs on to TikTok once more.
I'll be waiting. I also have updates, Chelsea, because ever since our Beetlejuice episode, my DMs have been flooded. So in the Beetlejuice episode, we talk about how my school had a ghost named Tina, and then I had an idea for a screenplay where half of it would be in the past, half of it would be in the present, solving the murder. And I said, oh, R.L. Stein's going to steal this, haha. No, you know who did? It's Paramount Plus, who has a show called School Spirits, which is exactly the same plot. Let's be honest. R.L. Stein, I did read his books, and then a 10-year-old Donny wrote the same thing. But I've been working on this since I was in college. This really was stolen from me.
We need to just start yelling TM, TM, TM. We need to put a disclaimer at the top of every episode. You know how, like, for whatever reason, all of us as content creators think that if we say allegedly, it, like, somehow is like a get-out-of-jail-free pass. Like, we can't get sued if we say allegedly.
Yeah.
I think we have to start saying, I'm Chelsea and I'm the cute one. I am Donny and I'm the cute one. And everything we say in this episode is trademarked. We're going to pull a Pepe and just put a little TM circle. We don't actually have to trademark it, but we're just going to speak it out loud like Michael Scott saying, I declare bankruptcy.
Let's get a third co-host who just sits here silently and is a lawyer.
Even
Just
better,
to
you know
scare
what we
some
can
people.
do? We can do it like when we had Gabby Prescott from Summer House on, and then Bravo made her have like a PR person also log on to make sure that we didn't say anything bad, and it was just a blank screen. We should just like log on from a third device, but have the name tag say really important lawyer who will sue you.
Yes. Stephanie Sanchez, former personal assistant, now lawyer to the stars.
Old Steph has gotten her law degree. We need to throw a celebration.
It's good to promote in-house, isn't it? So don't watch that, because my book will be out eventually, and I don't want it to be spoiled for you.
Well, I
okay?
would argue you did give the twist already. That you did say it's going to be somebody in real time who's still involved with the drama department.
But that could be anyone.
True.
That could be the dean of students. That could be a professor. Someone maybe is a townie now that used to be on campus.
Somebody that was buried in a rug but is now back to life.
Yeah, all kinds of twists. Now, I did have an eventful week. You may recall the Rainforest Cafe pop-up came to New York City this weekend. I did not go, but I am glad I didn't, because I saw TikToks of it, Chelsea, and it was a piece of shit. It was a scam of all scams. Worse than the Wonkaland, worse than the Bridgerton exhibit in Detroit, which, did you hear about that?
Yes, I saw pictures of
A stripper pole.
Well, I'm fine with that. That's entertainment, baby.
Yeah.
We don't want to knock that. But the buffet spread was reminiscent of like the after church donuts where you would go to the basement. But it's like if you got to church late and you were the very last person down to the basement, and it's like half of a jelly-filled donut left. That was what Bridgerton presented to the people of Detroit as like the starting point of the meal.
Yeah, and not one Stephen Britton costume. Anyway, this was run by Rainforest Cafe, so it was a step above that. But all it was merch booths, Chelsea, where you could buy Rainforest Cafe merch, and then they had, along one wall, they had fake rainforest trees. But no swinging monkeys, no lightning storms. It was awful. I'm so glad I didn't go.
But we could have predicted this because you did tell me about the lack of fish in the fish tank the last time that you went. So that was signs of things to come.
That's true. Rainforest Cafe is quickly going under. Where is Flava Flav when we need him?
I know. Come on, Flava Flav. I know you're playing water polo right now, but we can diversify. We can walk and chew gum at the same time.
We've got to save the Rainforest Cafe. The last thing that happened to me this week was, on a whim, by accident, just scrolling through porn Twitter, I didn't even know this was a fetish, Chelsea, but now
I'm so
I don't want to
nervous.
partake in it. Naked trumpeter porn.
Okay. Is it just what it sounds like, or is the trumpet...
On someone's genitals. You put it on the genitals. You don't stick it in anywhere. It's not
Well, I didn't know if
penetrating.
it was like you farted and then it was like...
No. You just put a trumpet up to someone's penis and or vagina and just...
Oh, you play onto it.
Yeah. I
Okay.
watched hours of footage yesterday. And
Hours?
and I didn't, get off to it. It was just fascinating to me.
Very reminiscent of that chat roulette situation
Oh,
I talked about a
yes.
couple weeks ago. But I bet the vibrations of that trumpet would feel real nice on the genitals.
Probably. Like when you jerk off sitting on a dryer.
Sure.
Now, if you have to do the math, I've lived in New York for the past 15 years. I don't have a dryer. So when I get access to one...
Look out. When Donny has a dryer in his house, why don't you go ahead and head to the laundromat? Because you don't want to be washing and drying your clothes there.
You sure don't. So that's my week, cutie. So if you want to see what trumpet porn looks like, go to our YouTube or our Patreon. We're not going to show real clips, but I did pretend to do it. So you can watch us there on the YouTube, or it'll be on Patreon as well. And guess what? Now on Patreon, you can watch episodes the same day as the release without ads.
This week brought us Kamala Harris on Call Her Daddy, Snoopy fans spiraling after the cartoon dog seemingly endorsed Trump, Joker 2 flopping at the box office, an official announcement for the Princess Diaries 3, Wicked tickets on sale now, and the 20th anniversary of Desperate Housewives.
What a week.
What a week. And I read that all in one go. So Patreon cuties, you know the struggle, but hooked on phonics, look at me go.
Wow. Did you read it ahead of time, or was that a cold read?
That was a cold read. I'm ready for my
Wow.
SNL debut.
I've always said that about you.
Oh, one thing about Desperate Housewives. You have done the poll in your stories
Yes, I
asking
have.
if that should be our next thing that we cover for bonus episodes on Patreon.
Yeah.
And overwhelmingly, the cuties seemed down with it. And you kept sending it to me. And I don't think that I was enthusiastic enough in my yes. But I'm telling you now, yes, I would be okay with that. I don't want to commit to a whole season, but maybe the first half of the season. And then we'll do a check-in like we did with Glee of
Yeah.
whether or not we want to continue. I'd be fine with that.
Perfect. Now, I will say, it is a mystery. Each
Oh.
season is a new mystery. But stopping
Oh.
halfway through one season might be odd.
I didn't know it was a mystery.
Oh, yeah, it's just Pretty Little Liars for adults.
Okay. So let's move on. Do you want to go first or second this week for the headlines?
I'll go first. So
Okay.
I'm going to tell you about two things I've been watching. Because first I watched Knock at the Cabin, which I watched for you, Chelsea. But since that
you.
came out about 2 years ago, I decided that's not really a headline. So I also want to talk about a TV show that is currently on that I've been watching. But first,
Okay.
let's talk about Knock at the Cabin.
Okay. I'm nervous.
Hated the little girl.
Okay.
If she would have been the one to perish, I would have been okay.
You should read Stephen King because if you're pro child death, that man is for you.
Oh my God, I just watched the new Salem's Lot. It was too much. So we started with a kid's death. I screamed.
We
I hated
always
it.
do. Pepe famously threw one of his books into the ocean during our beach week because he was reading it and one of the kids died and he just threw it into the ocean. And my dad was like, Pepe, kids always die. It's Stephen King. That's
Yeah.
kind of his thing.
Yeah, it was tough in Salem's Lot. I would have jumped for joy in Knock at the Cabin. I understand everyone had little quirks to them in this. We weren't just miserable the whole time. We weren't just scared the whole time. We shown personality. That's wonderful. But I felt like they plucked her from a Disney Channel show.
I didn't think so. I felt like she was good. I feel like M. Night Shyamalan is really good at picking children actors.
Well, every clock is wrong 80% of the day or whatever they say because
That's what they say.
he did not do a good job this time. But as far as the plot, I would say I was entertained the whole time. I never picked up my phone to watch trumpet porn or anything like that. I
Okay.
paid attention. However, I will say the first 75% of the movie, I wasn't invested in terms of whatever happens, happens. Because This is not a real spoiler, but mini spoilers. The people that break in say, we're not going to hurt you. We can't hurt you. But every whatever hour, we're going to hurt one of ourselves. Okay, I don't give a fuck. Kill yourself in front of me. I don't care. So watching them maybe do or do not kill themselves in front of them one by one, I didn't care. The payoff to me was which of the final three was going to live.
Okay.
So when it came to them, that's when I was like, oh, what's going to happen?
Did you go back and forth of whether or not they were crazy people or they were conspiracy theorists that were right?
I had a feeling they were right. So I didn't really go back and forth. Now, I did hear the book is very different.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Very different.
Okay, I'm going to have to read the book now. I think a couple things. It is in my top 5 for M. Night Shyamalan, but I do think it's because I watched it in an M. Night Shyamalan movie marathon weekend with me and Dr. Bald, and we watched Old, and then we watched this movie. I don't know what order it came out, but we watched Old first and then this movie, and I think I was just so relieved. Speaking of wild ass things happening to children, I was just so relieved that I was no longer watching Old, that I think that I could have watched anything and it would have been top 5 for me no matter what, just because I was so disturbed by Old.
Okay,
I do feel like, much like Moonfall, this movie does embolden conspiracy theorists a little too much for my liking, given the fact that, you know, you can just scroll on TikTok and we're being told to thank Beyonce and that Hurricane Milton was made in a lab. Like, I don't know if we need to be lifting up conspiracy theorists to be like, look, sometimes people are right, but I still really enjoyed it.
Me too. What was I going to say? One more thing that I wanted to make fun of you about. Oh, no, it wasn't about you at all. I don't like that M. Night Shyamalan seems to be in his no twist era. Like, Old was advertised as you get old on the beach. That's what it was. This is advertised as there may or may not be an apocalypse and you have to kill one of your family members to find out. And that's what happens. Trap is the same way. A serial killer's trapped. We got to catch him. That's what happens.
Yeah, I feel like the twists at the end are like, well, that big plot thing is still the big plot thing, but there's like a little side thing happening that gives you more context to the bigger plot. And it's like, no, I want to see Bruce Willis's wife drop that ring and me be like, oh my God, he's a ghost.
Me too.
I want that blind bitch walking through traffic and us realize, oh my God, it's present day.
Best twist of all time. I wanted Trap for Lady Raven to be the serial killer somehow so bad. I didn't know how, but I wanted her to lure people in to kill them. I didn't know how. I didn't know why.
Imagine this. Lady Raven is like Dexter, where she is a serial killer of serial killers. And so the trap is to catch the serial killer, but when he approaches her to escape, the twist is she takes him to her bunker. She's been luring him in, and then she's going to murder him live on Instagram.
That would have been good. But you know what I really thought? This is what I truly thought. Because remember, I asked you, why are so many people fainting at this concert? I didn't know that was a thing. But in this movie, we see at least 4 teenage girls faint. So I thought that they were being roofied or something, and I thought it was going to happen to his daughter, so then he would have to try to save her, so then it wouldn't be a big deal that he was a serial killer in the past, because now we're rooting for him to try to save his daughter. But that
would have been really good. No, I think that Fainting Girls was supposed to show us that, like, depending on what he needs in that moment is how he's going to react. Like, he will either push somebody down the steps or save their life, depending on his own personal hierarchy of needs. But I love that idea. We need to get M. Night on a call. We've got some ideas we need to pitch in.
School Spirit, apparently, is one of them. Okay, but the show I've been watching, and there's 7 episodes so far. 1 episode comes out later this week, and then that's the whole first season. It's called English Teacher on FX. And when it was first announced, all these people were like, oh, it's just trying to be White Abbott Elementary. And you know what? I'll be honest. My fingers tweeted that too. But then it's nothing like Abbott Elementary, and you should give things a chance because it is so funny. It is like if I was a high school English teacher, which is very funny to watch. However, it also gives me anxiety because the situations this man puts himself in by being problematic and by wanting to put himself in places where he doesn't belong, it makes me not be able to sit still.
It's your sliding doors moment where you get to peer into the life that could have been, where instead of saying problematic things on a podcast and getting 5-star reviews for it, you could have been a high school teacher and constantly on the verge of being fired.
Yes. In the second episode, the Powerpuff game is happening. So the girls play football, the boys cheerlead. But the LGBTQ club thinks it's disrespectful if boys dress as girls because it's disrespectful to the trans community, whatever. Much like I just said, whatever, that is that is similar to how this character behaves. So he brings in Trixie Mattel to teach the boys, and he's like, the problem is you do it as like a punchline, but if you really sell it, if you wear breastplates, if you commit to the bit, then it's not a problem. So Trixie Mattel teaches them how to do drag.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might have to give this a try. You said it was very like Office adjacent, right?
In terms of like, I'm sure the writers are liberal, but they come for everybody. Like they come for the weird MAGA people, but they also come for
the pretentious woke people.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
Me too. I wanted to be a high school English teacher, you may remember. And not only for reasons of like getting too involved in places I don't belong, etc., but just the way students and parents are now, I truly think I wouldn't be able to survive.
And also, you know, the casual threat of gun violence at any moment. That doesn't help our current state of affairs.
Well, in episode 4, there's a gun club. And when he comes into school, he hears it and he thinks there's a school shooting. So then the whole episode is about him trying to get the gun club closed.
All right, I'm going to have to watch this show.
It is so good.
So a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the Blake Lively of it all and the little bump interview. Now this interviewer has taken to her TikTok to talk about the worst interview of all time that almost made her quit the biz with Anne Hathaway when she was doing her tour with Les Mis. In the original clip, the interviewer started out by jokingly asking Hathaway to answer the first question through song. She said, "I was going to sing the question to you and you can sing back the answer." And Hathaway said, "Well, I won't be doing that, but you're more than welcome to sing." And then later on in the episode, the interviewer went on to ask Hathaway questions like, do you remember your first crush? And whether or not she believed love was more passionate during the period of the time that the film took place. Following both questions, Hathaway simply answered, no. Which, to be fair, it's like Les Mis is about like starving children and needing bread, right?
Yeah, that's a part of
It's
it.
a weird thing to be like, don't you think that love was just more passionate? Yeah, everything was more passionate because we were always on the verge of dying, I think.
Yeah, people are dying, and it's the French Revolution is what it's about, too.
Oh, yeah, a romantic time. Wonderful. So since that initial thing where she came out and talked shit, she has now taken to her Instagram, and the interviewer has said, I have to say I'm pretty shocked. I did not expect Anne Hathaway to reach out to me at all. I thought she wasn't even going to see the video, but she did, and she did something pretty amazing. She revealed that Hathaway sent her a long email explaining what she was going through at the time and apologizing for giving an awful interview. She even said that in the future, when she's promoting a movie, she would love to do another interview with this woman. A couple things. Number one, I love the fact that clearly Anne Hathaway saw what's been going down with Blake Lively, and she's like, no. I did my time in the 2010s. I shan't be having America turn on me again. Like, I finally grew my hair out, and people remembered I was in The Devil Wears Prada. I'm not doing this shit again.
Yeah.
I'm going to apologize.
I hate this lady. I think we demand an apology from her.
Paraphrase Ariana from Vanderpump Rules. Once is a mistake. More than that, it's a pattern. It's who you are. It's like perhaps all of these people you gave interviews to, maybe they're monsters. It is Hollywood. Everybody is a monster to some degree. But maybe you're just bad at your job. Like maybe you ask really bad questions, and maybe you shouldn't be like, dance, monkey, dance. I want to see you sing. Like maybe just ask a normal fucking question.
Right. Because I think if we weren't already aboard the Blake Lively hate train, the question she asked about costumes, Blake Lively was right. You don't ask men questions about their costumes, only women.
Right.
But because we're already like, burn her at the stake, then people added that in too. Like, she was so rude, but she wasn't. I mean, she was, but what she was saying rudely made sense.
I think to be an interviewer, you have to make people feel comfortable to do dumb shit. Like, there is a reason why some interviewers are so amazing, because they're able to kind of like disarm the other person, and then halfway through to be like, I'm going to sing you a question and you can sing back.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like you're like talking to a friend and you might do that, but just like right out of the gate, it's like, no. Also, this is, again, we're promoting a movie about the French Revolution and death. I don't really need to be like, la, 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 la. When you start capitalizing or riding the coattails of somebody's downward spiral, it doesn't make me want to watch more of your interviews.
Right.
It's just odd.
Get her out of here.
Get her out of here. Like, we talk shit in code about certain guests we've had on this podcast, but I'm not saying every guest that we've had on is the worst episode we've ever had. Some of our best episodes come from bad guests because you and me end up doing like da 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 da. Like we're trying to make up for the energy. It's like at some point you got to take accountability and just be better at your job, lady.
Truly. I don't think I would have even asked her to sing an answer. I would have just started singing anyway.
And then when she says, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was just so inspired by that short hair and you sobbing, singing into the camera.
Yeah, them pulling your teeth out really got me going.
Oh God, that happens?
Oh yeah, she becomes a sex worker and sells her hair and her teeth.
That's why she has a short haircut?
Mm-hmm.
Bleak.
I know, it's very dark.
Going back to that other question about was love more passionate back then? No. I would argue that like everybody was just looking for a bath and a piece of bread.
Or maybe some teeth.
Yeah, no dental plan here. My God.
Awful. Yep.
So anyway, I think that lady needs to put down her phone and take a hard look in the mirror.
Wait, doesn't that movie turn 10 at Christmas time? No, Into the Woods does. Les Mis already turned 10. We can cover it whenever I feel like it.
We sure can. We sure can. Oh, I just got a crink in my neck doing that.
The Miserables. That's what it translates to in English, you know?
Well, there's going to be one more added to that list after that viewing, I got to tell you. Let's move on to the cutie of the week, shall we?
Okay. I'll go first.
Okay.
My cutie is Leighton Meester. Why in 2024, you ask? I'll tell you. Because she was added to season 2 of The Buccaneers, a show that I couldn't tell you what it's about until now. So it's about these girls in the boarding school in like Bridgerton clothes, whatever time period that is.
When love was more passionate, I think.
Yes, exactly that. Leighton Meester is joining the cast, so they didn't say who she's going to be. I don't know if she'll be a headmistress, a mother, a sister. I don't know. We'll find out together. But Leighton Meester is back on our TV screens. Now, while she is on our tongues, I do want to talk about something that you posted in your stories the other day. Someone compared Adam Brody and Leighton Meester to Paige and Craig of Bravo fame. Now, when you posted it, you went to your next story and you posted a video where you clearly disagree. But before I got to that video, I was so ready to fight you with fists this time.
If I had posted that earnestly, I give you full permission to sock me cold right in the sucker because, I don't know what the fuck is going on with Bravo fans lately, but first we have people comparing Heather Gay to Nene, and now this. I need everybody to take a breath, talk to their therapist, pray to their God, exorcise the demons that's coming from within, because I famously have the worst takes in all of the land, and I'm being usurped by these idiots on Twitter.
People are saying Nene and Heather Gay are similar.
Somebody tweeted, Donny, I'm so surprised you didn't see this because you're always talking about those people on Twitter. Somebody tweeted, Heather Gay is our new Nene. Our new what now?
How?
When I saw the comparison of Adam Brody and Leighton Meester, I wanted to hurl myself off of a building. Just because two people are conventionally attractive does not mean that they are the Bravo equivalent of something else. No. Also, I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've said it. I need to roll it off the tongue. Let's not forget when Craig went live twice during the pandemic with Tommy Lahren. I shan't forget anytime soon. Let's not forget that he was the OG anti-vaxxer saying that he wasn't going to get the flu shot because he heard somewhere that it would make him walk backwards.
Jesus.
Craig is not the worst guy on his show, which somehow then in Bravo math makes him a good guy. Craig is not a good guy. And I will not have him compared to Seth Cohen.
And I like Paige just fine, but I'll tell you one thing Leighton Meester does, and that's get out of bed. So we're not going to compare them either.
And this isn't helping our goal of having Paige on our show. I think, again, she'd be an amazing guest. And we can't help ourselves.
If Paige came on, I would say, Paige, did you see the meme that compared you and Craig?
She did, because she posted it to her stories. That's how I saw it.
But then I would sit there and tell her why it's wrong.
Leighton Meester is also a fashionista, but her fashion is not found on Amazon Live, Paige.
There's a love interest on the English teacher show, and he's also a stand-up comedian, so I immediately added him to our list of people to bring on. And I already decided to talk about how hot I think he is. I'm just honest with our guest, Chelsea.
Well, I think saying we think you're really hot is a little bit different than shitting on her personal relationship with her boyfriend. But I will say it again. I like Paige. I think she'd be a great guest. I just cannot co-sign that ridiculous tweet. My cutie of the week, never thought I'd say it, but Melania Trump. Because she had her new memoir that she wrote. If you're on YouTube, you'll see the quotes, the air quotes. But she released her memoir a month before the election. And in her memoir, the former First Lady writes, "Why should anyone other than the woman herself have the power to determine what she does with her own body?" So I saw a tweet that was like, I love a soft launch of a divorce. But way to go, Melania. Thank you for standing up for women's rights and for body autonomy. Now, you did stand by a lot of other really terrible shit, but I'm glad that you are hopefully going to get away from that fucking man.
What's the book called? I Really Don't Care, Do You? It should just be her in that jacket, blowing a kiss. Anyway, that's the end of the episode. So cuties, if you haven't, go to YouTube, go to Patreon. We're there as well, and we're ready for you. And on Monday on the main feed, we'll be covering Cursed, the Christina Ricci classic. So tune in.
And I hope everybody in Florida is doing okay, because that shit looks crazy. We're recording this on Wednesday, so hoping everybody's safe out there, because Jesus Christ. In our show notes, there is a list of places that you can donate to or give supplies to. So if you want to help all of our cuties in North Carolina, in Florida, anywhere that's been affected by the hurricanes, go there and please donate. And just wishing everybody to be safe and dry and just thinking of you. So thoughts and prayers, but also action. So click those links, cuties.
Please do. And we will talk to you later. Love you like a sister. Bye.